the Knicks now know that they can deliver their best shot to a bit of a banged-up Celtics team. Jaylen Brown only played 22 minutes. Kristaps didn't play the entire overtime, and they still couldn't win. So while, again, it was fun, it had some real regular season juice, I actually think it's worse for the Knicks because not only do they know what I just said, but now the Celtics also know, hey, I mean, we didn't even play our best game here. We're a little compromised. They played like it was Game 7 of the conference finals, and we still beat them. They can't win the champion. God, I hate being this guy at 10:03 on the show. They can't win the championship this year. They just can't.
I do feel better. Now, I feel actually the same that I felt all year long about this Knicks team, that I'll take my chances with them. I love their talent, and I wasn't overly concerned. I was a little discouraged by the 0-8, now 0-9 against the top teams in the league. But last night showed you, I mean, if this was a 7-game series, these type of games happen. It happened with the Sixers a year ago. I mean, it's going to happen in these playoff series, and if you play that game over 10 times, the Knicks are going to win a couple of those games. Does it mean they're going to beat them 4 out of 7? Maybe not. I mean, the Celtics have proven champions, and their superstars are legitimate superstars. I still question some of the Knicks superstars. Much I love Brunson, much I love Karl Anthony Towns. Those guys got to prove it in the postseason. You saw them come up small when the Knicks needed them most last night. But the bounce of a ball, I mean, if OG Anunoby hits a 3, maybe if Kristaps isn't on fire the way that he is, they can beat the Celtics. I don't look at the Celtics as an unbeatable team, especially when you look at it with the talent that the Knicks have. They're there. They're right there. Are they on that level? No, but they are right there. So seeing that play out last night, even with the loss, as frustrating as it may be, I still feel good about take our chances going into this round. Now, everybody's making it like it's a given in round 2. I mean, can we get past round 1 here?
Well, I've said that for a while. You know, I don't love these matchups, whether it's the Bucks or the Pistons.
No, I think the Knicks are going to. But even for the Celtics, like, let's not just make it like. Well, everybody's assuming.
But they've earned that. Knicks haven't. Like, the Celtics have earned that. Now, again, you could be wrong, but at least the Celtics, they've earned the right of being pushed through the champions.
Understood. I mean, the Knicks have won some first rounds here in the last couple of years, and you see where they're. I'm just saying that everybody was talking about, this is going to be a matchup, if things go according. Yeah, we understand that, but long way to go. And beating the Pistons or the Bucks for the Knicks is not going to be a cakewalk. Even if it's 5 games, it's still going to be 5 grueling games. It's the postseason against a good caliber opponent here. So I'm not so sure that it is going to happen. But if it does, I'll take my chances with the Knicks against the Celtics, where last year I didn't think they had a shot in hell to beat the Celtics. Now I feel like they do. Even if it includes a compromised Jaylen Brown, I still think the Knicks have a chance.
Yeah, he was definitely humbled. There's no doubt. And he didn't play a lot of minutes. I think it's 22, as I said here. So he might have to just. I'm even surprised he played. I mean, you were off yesterday. Me and Sal talked about. Me and Hoff talked about this. I was surprised. I'm happy that he did because at least it gives us a sense of what the Knicks look like this deep in the season against the team with all of their players, even though they didn't get the full allotment of minutes that they usually do. See, to me, I think that there's some obvious differences, and I think when you look at a Tatum, you and I were talking about this before the show, a Tatum versus a Brunson, and we love Jalen. He ain't Tatum. A Tatum versus a Towns, we really like Cat. He ain't Tatum.
But
Tatum's different.
Okay, but
he's different.
So that to me is a different layer or different level problem. I don't think the Knicks don't have enough to beat the Celtics. I believe that they can. Now, will they? Again, different story. But if they can't, I don't think it's the head coach's fault. I don't think it's the ancillary player's fault. Although Bridges, I can't stand him. He drives me nuts. I know that he hit a couple of shots, whatever. He drives me nuts. If you want to break down how do you
catch the ball?
Come on.
Yeah, he took his eyes off the ball.
I mean, come on. In the biggest spot like that, why? First of all, I wouldn't have him on the floor. That's another thing I think Tibbs needs to adjust if they do play the Celtics. Yeah. Well, I'd rather have Mitchell Robinson. I want 2 bigs.
Yeah, I'd like to see them go together a little bit more. I really would. I'd like to see
they're totally different.
Towns at the 4.
Mitch is actually a defensive player, an impact player. You saw that last night.
Yeah.
And he could rebound the basketball.
Well, think about this. We know, or at least we strongly believe, the Knicks cannot, however you want to frame it, beat the Celtics by going at them how they've conventionally gone at them.
Right.
So maybe the route here, and maybe Tom Thibodeau's just saving this and he's going to, dust it off and deploy it if they get to round 2 and they play the Celtics, where, you've got Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson playing 20, 22, 23 minutes together. I don't know. Maybe you could push around Cornette. I know he does some good things, but you could push him around if you've got those 2 big bodies out there. I got to tell you, though, I think that the big biggest problem against the Celtics, and I love this player because he plays his ass off. You said you want to see Bridges? I don't want to see Josh Hart against the Boston Celtics. When the Celtics have taken and made
one of those.
Oh my God, the Celtics have taken and made more threes than anybody in basketball. Now, Kristaps not going to hit 8 every night, and one of them was from like 40 feet. That one really late, which was sick. All right, but he's going to bang it a couple, and we know what they do. They have a very high rate of take and make from beyond the arc. That's one of the things they do. I don't know how you can consistently play Josh Hart against the Celtics where he's terrified to take a three. And when he does, by the way, the Celtics are begging him to take it.
Yeah, I know.
And when he does take it, he's terrible as a shooter. It's really 4-on-5 in a series that I think the Celtics could, even though the Knicks are okay defensively, I think the Celtics could score 120 every time they play the Knicks, around there, 115, 118, 120, even in the playoffs. I don't know that the Knicks can consistently do that against the Celtics with Josh Hart, who's terrified to take a three.
Fair enough, because he doesn't do enough of either. He's not going to be a great perimeter defender. See, two things have to happen for the Knicks to beat the Celtics 4 out of 7 games.
Tatum's got to get hurt.
Well, I mean, yeah, realistically. Well, Brown's already, he's compromised, so that's part one. But they have to defend the three better, and they have to make the threes. Now, that could be an inconsistent thing. For Boston, it's consistent with them making the big three after big three. I mean, they had him beat, and Tatum hits that, the game-tying shot at the buzzer.
That was a sick shot, man.
Okay, right, but for the Knicks, their guy trying to hit the game winner at the buzzer, Josh Hart, is throwing up a brick. And OG Anunoby wasn't good last night from downtown. And Brunson wasn't as efficient as you would need him to be. And Karl-Anthony Towns not knocking down the threes. He was playing more of an inside game, which I love. But to match the Celtics, you are going to have to hit more threes, or at least, I shouldn't say match, because you're not going to do it as well as they are. But you got to slow them down a little bit from their three-point shooting and enhance yours a little bit. So that's why I said I want Mitchell Robinson on the floor.
And Deuce.
Yeah, well, now you're really, I like Deuce, but Mitchell Robinson to me is an impact defender even on the perimeter. You're seeing his size.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so why not try then either have him replace Hart or Bridges? Whichever one, now maybe you want to say you'd rather have him replace Hart because Hart is not the offensive player that Bridges could be. But Bridges to me is just, he's a little pup. I was going to use the
came close there.
Well, no. I was going to say is, we use the term sackometer and all that stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So that's what I was going to say. Like a neutered
small
pup
sack.
to be. Well, just sackless.
Oh, geez,
I mean, you made me say it. I didn't want to say it, but come on, dude, with Bridges. Enough.
Yeah,
it's a big moment. He's got that puppy dog eye look. Like,
he doesn't look. He doesn't have that fight in his eyes, that gleam. That Josh Hart does have that look, but Josh Hart has some deficiencies. The crazy thing, we'll get to the calls here, but the crazy thing, and I'm very curious. I can't wait to get these calls and see what the Knicks fan thinks. But I went into that game. I couldn't wait. I've always said that depending on the team, depending on the season, there's probably 8, 9 regular season NBA games you've got to really dial into. From the Knicks' perspective this year, it was the Celtics, it was the Cavs, it was the Thunder, it was, not many more, really. Those are about the 10 games you really had to check out, and it hasn't gone well. But I still couldn't wait for last night. I knew the Knicks would play hard. I knew the Knicks would come out ready. I didn't know where the Celtics would be mentally, like how seriously they would take the game. And I went through like this pendulum of emotions. The way Karl-Anthony Towns was rocking, certainly in the first quarter and in the second half, I'm like, all right, big boy.
It was a great game. That was a fun game to watch.
It was a lot of fun, but it didn't change my opinion. Yeah, it was fun. It was entertaining, but it didn't change anything I believe about the Knicks or the Celtics or the Knicks' ability to beat the Celtics. But I'm sitting there. I can't wait for the game to start. It starts. Karl-Anthony Towns barreling his way to the rim, hitting threes. Really a fantastic balance of skill from outside and bully inside. And then the third quarter starts, and the Celtics get a little more focused and a little more serious, and their absolute strengths start to bubble to the surface, and some of the deficiencies, which I pointed out and have not terrorized, but have worried me about these Knicks. They came to fruition again. So in a crazy way, despite being overtime, despite really almost winning the game, as I said to start the show, I actually feel worse about the Knicks' ability to beat the Celtics. It was like round 15 for them. It's like the Celtics were sparring 3 months before a fight. It wasn't the same energy. Celtics still won.
Yeah, it's interesting because to me, it validated how I felt about this team, that they have a chance. And watching that game, I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I can't wait for 10 a.m. tomorrow to talk with BT about this game.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that the first half, I'm like, okay, how do you feel now? I wanted to ask you how you felt now. Obviously, the result wasn't there, and I don't like people making a big deal about, the Knicks punch back, finally they lost the game.
That's right.
I don't want to hear that part of it, but I do think that was like a playoff game, and they would have lost that game. Okay, fair enough, but in a 7-game series, I think the Knicks are a lot closer than you have been giving them credit for, and that the majority of people. Now, again, they lost.
Now, when we say closer, you mean closer to beating the Celtics and advancing.
Yes.
I don't see it at all this year.
BT and Sal on the Fan. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Brian is in New City. What's up, Brian? What's up, Brian?
Hey, bud. All right.
Adam is in South Jersey. What's up, Adam?
Oh, I'm the automatic leadoff guy. Now batting leadoff, Adam from South Jersey. What's up, guys?
Yo.
All right, so
I was actually batting out of order.
Right.
We had a mishap with the leadoff hitter today, Adam, but go ahead.
Actually, in the more prominent 2 spot, really.
It was an early pinch hit,
Yeah,
Sal.
yeah, right,
It was
there
an
you go.
early pinch hit. That's all. All right, so listen, BT, in the immortal words of our former quarterback, relax. I'm going to tell you why, okay? Number one, JB is still getting his legs under him, all right? He's not all there yet. He just played a couple of games. Secondly, this is the second game this year. The second that they're all playing together. This is just going to get a little better as it goes. Third, did OG play his best game, shooting game?
Well, that's a problem.
Did Brunson play his best game?
His best
No.
game, no. But I'm not worried about it. I haven't even mentioned Brunson. But I love Jalen. I'm not worried about Jalen Brunson at all.
But I do think, to Adam's point, and thank you for the call, Adam, that if those guys played their best game, the Knicks could beat the Celtics. They would have beaten the Celtics. And if I were to ask you, BT, who do you think the Knicks, give me the top 2 best three-point shooters on their team.
Forget about the stats, which I pretty much know, but I'll just look at it this way. Who do I want lining up a clutch 3 the most?
Yeah.
Brunson for sure, and probably OG from the corner.
Right. And even if you throw in Towns, if I give you the top 3, so last night Brunson wasn't efficient. 5 of 12. All right, whatever.
That's
from downtown.
fine.
But still, to me, it was
good.
I'd rather him be more efficient and then spread the wealth a little bit. OG 0 for 5, Towns 1 for 3. That cannot happen. One of those 2 guys has to hit more threes along with Jalen Brunson. I don't think Brunson played his best game, and maybe some of those shots were, not at the most opportune times because the numbers on themselves aren't awful.
He put a few up quick.
Yeah,
he did.
so, okay, but still, you got a really good game from Brunson. You need to be able to beat the Celtics, one of those other guys, specifically from downtown. And if I throw in Josh Hart, who we don't think is a good shooter, but he's 0 for 4, somebody else has to knock down those threes. Even Deuce, 1 for 4, not good enough. Bridges, he's another guy who could shoot the 3. Nobody's shooting the 3 well enough last night, outside of Brunson, who was okay from downtown. So that, to me, was the issue, where I do think, to Adam's point, there's still room to grow there for where the Knicks could play a better game.
I would feel, yes, there is room to hit that. There's always room to get better and to grow. And obviously, these Knicks haven't played a ton of minutes together, to Adam's point there, which was his second point. I'm not too worried about that. That's why I think next year will be a lot better with another addition that's going to come off the bench, somebody who can snipe a little bit, and they're going to have to change some roles, and they might have a new coach. I mean, I don't even want to get into that now, but Brendan Malone getting fired, he's from here. He went to Seton Hall.
I know,
Prep.
but I
His
still
dad
don't.
coached here.
I still don't think Tibbs is the problem. But you're right. That's a whole nother conversation.
Again, I don't even think Tibbs is the problem. I just don't know that he's quite the answer that I hoped he would be. Either way, I don't want to divert the show that way. We didn't talk about Malone being fired, so I just insert that there. But it's not that the Knicks missed a barrage of wide open shots that I fully expect them to hit. Part of the reason why they missed those shots is because the Celtics, Missoula, and the Celtics defense and their switching and the way they play together, their defense is a problem. Their length is, McBride is small, Brunson's small, Josh Hart is only 6'4", and he can't shoot. I know he plays big, but he's not big and he can't shoot. So I just think it's a bad matchup.
Do you think that Porzingis will go 8 of 13?
Of course not.
Okay, and do you think Obi would go 0 for 5 from downtown?
No,
okay,
I don't.
So,
I don't.
And
but what did Jalen Brown shoot? I know he only played 22 minutes.
He's hurt. I mean, that's the reality of their situation right now. Is Jalen Brown is compromised, which makes them a little more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Let's just go based off of right now. And the Knicks are getting healthier and starting to gel at the perfect time, as opposed to last year when the wheels were falling off. Mm-hmm. Randall, we know him being banged up, and then in the postseason it was like one guy dropping after another.
Robinson with the Embiid foul.
All that stuff.
Even Brunson was banged up.
Right. So now it feels like, and again, a lot could change in a week or 2 weeks, but right now for the first time all year, they are whole, and they're starting to play together as a unit as well as they've played all year, I'm not going based off of, whoa, they punched back against us. They lost the game, but if you watch it, and we did, you had to feel at least a little more hopeful about, okay, in a 7-game series, if they turn it up a little bit more and play a little bit better, and maybe Porzingis doesn't catch fire, they have a chance to beat this team.
Well, this came up between you and I the other day, and I did say, I made this slight concession. I said, I'm as hopeful as I've been all year with the Knicks because of the reasons that you just stated, without me restating them. Yep, I'm hopeful, but I'm not confident, like, at all. Like, and a matter of fact, I don't think they would win. Like, you can be hopeful, and again, think about the word hopeful, 2 syllables, derived from the word hope. I hope. That's different than belief and conviction. I have no conviction that the Knicks are going to go far. I just don't.
And maybe our biggest difference is off of last night because you're saying you're more discouraged after last night than encouraged.
Yeah, because the Knicks came out and they gave it their A+ effort. They still lost. The Celtics were like a C+ effort. They still won at the Garden.
See, that's where I disagree. I don't think the Knicks gave an A+. I mean, effort. Sure.
I'm talking about effort, not execution.
But there's still, if the Knicks played their A+ game and still didn't win, I'd be with you and be like, wave the white flag. They can't beat this team even at their best. The Knicks weren't at their best last night. And Boston, to the contrary, even without Brown, because Porzingis was on fire, that's not going to be the norm. Tatum's going to hit big shots. That's what he does. Porzingis is not going to go 8 of 13. Now, he is a great shooter. He's the guy I wanted the Knicks to get a couple of years ago. Before going
so did I. I wanted to bring him back.
He's the guy. He was the perfect fit. Now, of course, the world champion Celtics go out and get him, which makes them even tougher. But I don't think that's going to be the norm. It's just not human to shoot 8 of 13 the way that he did, doing it with the shots that he did. So
I agree.
I think the Celtics, again, playing their A game, I wouldn't say that either, but they played a terrific game with really ridiculous hot shooting from beyond the arc, which is somewhat their norm, but I think the Knicks have room to grow, which is why I'm not giving up hope.
I love it, and I wish that I could really, truly, I mean, I hear you. Yeah. I wish I could subscribe to that. I can't because the evidence is not in front of me this year. Now, I could also quickly volley back and say, yeah, I got you. You know, Porzingis isn't going for 8 for 13. Again, the reasons that you just stated, but then I could also say, well, of all the games against the Cavaliers and the Celtics and the Thunder this year, how many times has Karl-Anthony Towns looked that good in the first half? The answer might be none.
Right.
So that might be an anomaly as well, which might not go favorably for the Knicks next time they play.
BT and Sal on the Fan, just getting started. 888-808-1019, the number to call.